Oh, okay.
Okay.
Silencer comes out. That's it fits, right? You've already got an Ember, you've already got an Oracle. You get that global silence out, and suddenly things become a hell of a lot harder for CR.
Definitely. It's just really good to ensure the team fights work in Boom Esports' favor. You're always gonna have that upper hand as long as you start with that silencer, you start with that global silence, all your follow-ups not gonna have an issue afterwards. You have great scalability with that silencer as well. If you play aggressive, and Boom Esports does play aggressive, you can really start stacking up on the int and just growing really big off of that. So I would like to see maybe a bit more of an aggressive support coming out with that silencer. One of the cases where if the Tusk wasn't banned out, that would be perfect. But you should still look for a pretty strong laning partner if you are going to run this as support. Should really escalate fast if you do invest in it. CR, they do pick up the tiny for themselves. So you have a great burst potential coming out, decent control from CR. We have seen Tinies actually do a fair bit of work despite not being the most popular here anymore. I think there is still some potential in that. It is going to be interesting to see it match up against what Boom Esports does have. Like, they can burst the Pugna very fast. That's the main target in mind. A blink avalanche toss onto the Pugna to take him out immediately is going to be extremely effective, or the silencer. Either targets are pretty squishy. So you have a wave tearing through that backline. You will need to build your tiny up though, like invest in a blink where that can really happen in consistent manner. Beyond that, of course, the tiny is just going to give you that much stronger laning presence. Still keen to see what it partners with in lane. We don't quite know that yet, but Boom Esports does pick up a Morphling. They do have that leeway with the tiny being revealed. It's going to be a bit challenging playing the Morphling into the Oracle. You have to be cautious about being disarmed by the Oracle if ever they do decide to just play it that way. Otherwise, you can morph into tiny for a bit more damage there, just having that additional burst on top of your own kit. You can morph into the Ember Spirit as well. A lot of good targets to turn into. Even the Oracle, pretty potent. Like, you don't get access to the ult, but Oracle's first skills are really strong anyway. So just from that vantage, this Morphling is going to be extremely useful for Boom Esports.
Well, I can't disagree with you on that. It's already looks like a very, very powerful pick here for Boom. CR, they need to come up with some answers here because it's looking worse and worse as this draft goes on for them. They'll go for the Nature's Prophet. I don't think that necessarily deals with the Morphling, but perhaps just a comfort pick for CR. Of course, we do know the Prophet is a very, very potent hero in this current meta, especially if you do run it as a core, which I do believe CR is intending to. You can really just snowball out of control, John, and it's just very hard to control with that global presence.
Definitely. So you've got high mobility in that Ember and Nature's Prophet. You can go around causing chaos on the map. I think that is something we have to see from CR. I would like to see them to be a bit more active with this kind of setup. You would want a little bit more activity, especially in that early game. That's the key time when Boom is going to be vulnerable, especially that Morphling. That's going to be the target you aim for. Ensure the Morph doesn't have that good start, and you can kind of keep him in his place the entire game, but you have to invest in getting the rotations onto that Morph every single time. Should be easy enough with the NP. Like, no matter what lane he's in, he can just dip in, ensure the Morphling gets taken out, and dip back out. Of course, the Nature's Prophet pickup does allow CR to have some push potential as well. So they can get a split push out and going for themselves. They have a decent way of counteracting that push from Boom Esports now.
We'll see. Final pickup. Plenty of reserve time if they want to have a think about this, and I have a feeling they may want to have a think about it because I still think they have fallen behind in their draft. Though no,
Ooh.
they'll go for the PL, and to be absolutely fair, there's no real hard counter towards the PL this game from Boom Esports, apart from maybe the Pugna, you could argue, but I don't think the PL should have too rough of a game, assuming Boom doesn't have some amazing last pick.
Yeah, it does look like a very good Phantom Lancer game. No direct counters here for Boom. They don't really have the best wave clear so far. I mean, Pugna can wave clear, but once those Phantom Lancer illusions start to tank up, you're really going to struggle to melt them down. It's going to be hard to isolate that real hero as well. So options are limited. Boom Esports won't be able to pick an Ember because it's out of the pool. They do go with a DK in response. So they've got some way of splashing through those illusions as you do scale on. The Breed Fire is going to be very useful in that sense as well. But it is a bit of a tricky one for Boom Esports. Like, they can still play aggressively. They don't really need to worry about the Phantom Lancer early on. I don't think he's going to be a major threat until 15 to 20 minutes in, and that is something Boom Esports can play around. At the same time, if they don't get a big enough lead by then, even if Mikado gets very, very big, it's going to be hard to play up against a properly set up Phantom Lancer. As long as he has enough illusions coming out from him in the middle of a fight, you're not going to be able to isolate the real one, and he's going to be able to tear through your backline entirely.
I mean, that Dragon Knight, though, John, it does add even more push potential here for Boom, right? Like, they've got a Beastmaster, Pugner, and DK. If you could get the PL, Ember, and Prophet up to scratch, if you can get to that late game stage, then that's when you start saying Boom might be in trouble. Early on, though, I still sit there and I'm very afraid for CR's draft because it does take a lot more time to really be online.
Definitely. Like, again, the PL's not going to be an issue until 15 to 20 minutes in. You're going to need some farm on Ben-Hur, and you really have to give Xiao Yu some space to get big as well. He did get shafted a lot last game. You're going to have to try to give them good enough farm at the same time, maintaining that pressure. So CR has to choose its targets right. They have to know which lane they're going to have to shaft, because Boom Esports will make it hard to win every single lane. You're going to have to accept one of the lanes is going to go rough. So they've got to prioritize here. Are they going to give Xiao Yu the harder lane? Are they going to give Ben-Hur the harder lane? Or are they just going to give give VT Faded the hard lane? Because they're going to have to split those resources up, and I'm sure Boom Esports will try to respond in kind. So it's going to be an interesting back and forth in game number 2.
Well, we do see the betting odds for this map 2 winner up on the screen now, and Boom is sitting again the heavy favorites in this matchup. And you know, this after game 1, you're not really too shocked by that. CR definitely looking a bit better with this draft, and if they could just kind of wait out the storm that is coming from Boom, they may be able to force this to a game number 3, and of course that's what we're hoping for, because we just want to watch some more Dota. Really, I'd rather just it never ends if it was up to me, John. But
30 seconds to
unless, of course, it's a Tinker Arc Warden game, in which case it will literally never end, and I don't want to watch that crap. It's Tinker Arc Warden. But
don't forget the techies there. That would really never end.
True. None of that though. Looks like Ohio is going to be an interesting position here. He does have some nice toss targets here in Kezcute. He could toss it into his heroes, but they haven't got so much kill potential here against the 3 of Boom. So instead, he will go ahead, steal that Bounty Rune off the side of Boom ID. It'll be a 2-for-2 trade, nothing too special. Ohio
I don't think
will
we
just
mentioned
run his way up.
Well, we didn't mention this, but Mikado is actually playing mid in that Morphling, and we're going to see Brimo Cell up top on the DK, so a bit of a shake-up here. Mid Morphling against the mid Ember.
Fair enough. It's not something you see too often, but I guess you can't really disagree with it. If you are Makoto, like, you should have a slight advantage on that Morphling. Even Kezcute kind of just dipping into the mid lane for a bit and trying to harass out the Ember. Not too sure what the point of that was, but he did show up.
Yeah, it's a strange shakeup. I don't think the DK up against the Ember would have been bad, and I don't particularly think that the Morphling up against the Nature's Prophet would have been too rough as well. So it looks like they just don't want any of that rotating potential from Ohio for the toss target to be out there, and just want to give the Morphling a fairly decent 1v1 lane.
I mean, he does have very, very high base attack when you get the Agi shift going. So it seems like that's the way you're going to harass Ben-Hur out. Even though he gets close for the Flame Guard, as you saw, he just one adaptive strike and it's gone. It's always very nice to watch that happen, and Makoto can always just juggle his HP, make it very difficult for Ben-Hur. In fact, he goes for more adaptives, and you look how low Ben-Hur's getting. Just have to be careful. He will commit the salve, Makoto. Won't have the waveform, so he can't waveform in and cancel that one off. Overall, it looks to be a very, very nice start for Boom ID once again, though. You look up at that top lane now. Dream Missile and Kezcute up against Xiao Yu on that Prophet. You kind of mentioned it already, but the DK really shouldn't have too much trouble in this lane. Like, I can't imagine Zhao Yu being able to force him out with the Tiny.
Nah, definitely not. Like, it would take a pretty good toss from Ohio to get that done.
There's a toss into the creeps, but gonna cop a lot of damage out of this. Kezcute gonna be there with the follow-up, and Ohio may just be dead. In fact, Dreamer Cell does find it with the Breathe Fire, and it's really that easy.
Was a bit optimistic to try to get that toss off. I mean, he's trying to get the pull, but committing the toss after getting the Arcane Chris on top was gonna be painful no matter what, and he does pay for it with his life. At the very least, Ohio does kind of get a reset, but you know, Tiny's one of those low-end heroes that every single point lost, something like a silencer is gonna hurt his pool. As a support, that limits your spamming of spells, and that's always gonna hurt your viability.
That's very true. Kezcute's just going to be very, very annoying on this silencer. Let's see how many more kills he can try to rack up and how much more int he can find. Plus, down at the bot lane, VT Faded on the PL with Mushi up against FBZ and Hyde. FBZ, or VT Faded, I should say, is having a very, very nice time on the PL. Currently sitting at 19-0. So, seemingly not much they can really do to slow him down yet. Though I've got to say, John, once you get to that level 5 mark on the Beastmaster, those level 3 balls, they really start to hurt. Though mid lane, both heroes are dropping very, very low. Makoto and Ben-Hur going at it. Both will survive for now. Top lane Ohio, he'll find Kezcute on the silencer. And Ben-Hur and Makoto, they will get out with their lives intact.
Yeah, just a lot of back and forth that can happen with these two heroes now. We will have to wait for Mikato to shift out and pop his salve at some point. Though he does get a rotation, just to relieve some of that pressure. Kezcute coming in for a couple of right clicks, and this is, you know, so far a bit of a better game for CR. I'd have to say, sure, right now Boom is winning out in two of the lanes, but they are giving VT Favored a much better time in the bot lane, although he is getting a lot of damage in.
Yeah, VT getting slowed down by those boars and Hyde. In fact, it's FBZ to pick up the kill with the boar damage. And that's what we were talking about, John. As the levels go up on FBZ, those boars really start to hurt. And they do slow for a substantial amount. And when you have a Pugna there with the Nether Blast and Decrepify to follow up with the damage, you could really lose a lot of HP very quickly.
Definitely. It's something that you have to be cautious about, especially when you do go 1-1-1 on a PL, so that cooldown on Doppelganger level 1 is pretty long, and that's something Boom ID can play around. FBZ finding an opportunity there to get a lot more damage in, does manage to secure that kill. Still, CR is having a better time than Game 1. They are, at the very least, finding the last hits on their cores. The only real lane that's kind of tapered off a bit is that mid lane. Mikato is quite a fair bit ahead in terms of denies. That's really what's setting him apart from Ben-Hur right now. Beyond that, I'd say it's a much more even time than Game 1, at least in the side lanes, and that could spell the difference here. They have to ensure that the Phantom Lancer VT Faded does get what he needs on the bot lane. I do like seeing that Mushi's just sitting still there. There is no real need to rotate down mid. We've been seeing Boom ID really doing that more with Kezcute, just to ensure that Mikato doesn't die, and it has been a worthwhile investment. This is something Boom needs to maintain, keeping the Morphling alive, ensuring that he doesn't taper too far behind in terms of that early game, and once they ride through that weak phase of the Morphling, he can kind of farm up by himself in the jungle. That is what Boom ID should be aiming for. You're going to have to give that jungle space to him. Grimo Celt's not going to need it at the very least. The DK is a bit less farm reliant in that sense, so they can play with their farm distribution in that way.
Careful what you claim. Pull roots and the flames rush.
We'll get back into it. The pause is finally over. Ben-Hur and Makoto still going at it in the mid lane. Very even, though, in terms of CS. Just keeping up with each other as it looks like Ben-Hur is going to activate a haste rune and start running up top. But he'll just secure both bounty runes up at the top lane, while Mushi does get Hyde on the Pugna. And it was only Mushi alone just finding the support Pugna pickup, but that's the thing with an Oracle. you know, he has hit level 4. When you've got level 2 Purifying Flames, you really can't underestimate how much damage they do.
Definitely. It's a lot of damage that can fly out from our Oracle now, and that should allow him to at least have a little bit more presence against Hyde. You know, that's the one thing with a Pugna. Really squishy, doesn't get too much HP by himself. That is very easy to punish.
Bot lane, they're going to try onto the PL, though VT Faded does have an early level on Doppelganger now, and he'll be fine. Thing is, with that one level on Doppelganger, the cooldown is very long, so keep an eye out on Boom, because once they see it go, they may make a secondary jump if VT Faded does come back in for a CS. Especially once you have the Primal Roar up, that's when things get very dangerous. Though there is going to be a rotation from Ohio on the Tiny, but Ohio is dropping a lot faster than he's actually getting anybody, and he will go down to Hyde, and now VT Faded. He'll try to go after FBZ, but can't keep up with that ball slow, and now Xiao Yu tries to do the same thing onto Hyde, but they just aren't able to catch up. And instead, they may find Keskute and Do on the Silencer. So ultimately, it will be a 1-for-1 trade. Though if I may add, John, that was, I believe, another 2 points in int stolen for the Silencer.
Yeah, just a little bit more going the way of Keskute there. They do force an early rotation out from Xiao Yu, but that is something you should expect from Nature's Prophet. He is free to get rotations around the map simply by the nature of the hero. Still, I don't think you're going to be too upset if you're either side. You are just creating rather light targets here. That time investment is a bit more in CR, though. They rotated Ohio earlier on as well, and the Tiny is definitely not getting as much EXP as you'd like. Still stuck at level 2 at the 7-minute mark. He's going to need a lot more on the Tiny before he can start pumping that damage out.
Move into that 7.5 minute mark now, and of course the neutral items have started dropping. Ben Hur gonna spot out Hyde on the river, but Makoto's gonna be there just in case he needs it. Both teams just taking it slow, right? We need more farm up on these cores, and they're not really the kind of cores that can just start running at you and start making plays. Each team does really need some farm up, and it's going to be a much slower pace this game for sure than last game. So Ohio has been left at the top lane by himself, so he does get some nice XP on the Tiny. Does now hit that level 4 mark. Of course, Xiao Yu feeling more than happy to just rotate around the jungle now on that Nature's Prophet. In fact, he does rotate bot where Hyde is starting to get low. Primal Roar is committed by FBZ, and now the Decrepify on Hyde will allow him to walk away from VT Faded alive. And so although they do get the Primal Roar committal, they will not be able to claim a kill with this Xiao Yu rotation, but they are going to try and force in a tier 1 tower.
I don't think that's going to go too fast with you know, Hyde still around for the Nether Blast. Creeps are just going to die.
That they are.
So again, you see CR trying to rotate in, right? They drag in Xiao Yu across the map to try to find their kills. It's not paying off yet. Like, I like the pressure coming out, but doesn't feel like they're applying the pressure on the right target. You'd expect them to keep a Morphling who can't really do too much right now in his place, but once again, Mikoto is kind of just allowed to bully out Ben Hur and take control of that lane. He is at 68 to 21 compared to Ben Hur's 52 to 4. He's scaling quite well, has his Morbid Mask up, can really just start farming the jungle now if he wished. And I think you're going to see a pretty good time on this Morphling's E-Blade. He decides to rush that first.
Top lane, Dream Assault does actually give away the outpost. He was trying to defend it, but CR, they just stick to it, and they do get it before the 10-minute mark. So some nice XP denial coming out from CR. You know, in this kind of game, that XP does seem rather important for both teams. And CR can gain quite a bit of a level advantage if you do allow that to happen a couple more times.
Definitely. It's something that Boom has to watch out for, but it's very easy for CR to get that done. They've got the NP, they've got the Ember Spirit. These guys can close the gap much easier. They don't have anything like the clock this time around for Boom, so really just a bit harder to get across the map there with everyone else.
Mid lane, Boom. They're just pushing in the tier 1, though. Huge Nature's Wrath coming up, but now Dreamer's Soul will pop the Dragon form. Still Ben-Hur gonna just commit Sleight of Fist and try to push them back, but that tier 1 is basically already dead. Dreamer's Soul does manage to claim it. Ben-Hur wasn't able to get the deny off. And now they go up top. They'll defend their top tier 1 up against Xiao Yu. That's a great pickup from Boom that really opens up the map here for this dire side.
It's going to allow them to dip into that opposing jungle if they wanted to. Gives a bit less control towards CR. They have been playing this one a bit more passively, though. I don't see that control giving them a bit more than you'd expect. I think they're just going to take it a bit slow, wait for Mikato to be ready, wait for a couple more items on FBZ before really going for the commitment. Although Mikato now...
There could be trouble. CR going to move in Ohio with the Avalanche, but Mikoto is strength morphing. He is a rather tanky target, and they will not be able to burst him down fast enough. However, bot lane, Ben-Hur, he does lose his own life. FBZ finding the Primal Roar on that Ember Spirit, and they will be able to claim that bot tier 1. So a very even tier 1 trade between the two. However, you're not going to like losing your Ember if you are CR.
Definitely. That's one of the targets that you should be defending at the very least. All of this is coming with VT Faded getting pretty free farm for himself. Up top, he's not really been contested in that jungle, so they are prioritizing that PL for the most part. And I think in that case, at the very least, it's much more defined in what they want from these lanes.
Oh, Dreamer's Soul finds a stun here. Xiao Yu gonna get the life drained out of him. They don't really find the kill onto that Prophet. Xiao Yu will be able to continue to defend, but Boom, we saw this in game 1. They just maintain control now over the opposing side jungle, and this forces VT Faded to go up towards that dire side jungle, but it's a lot more dangerous there as Kezcute is going to scout him out. That'll force VT Faded to topple away and just try to go back to his own jungle. It's FBZ. Going to be sprouted down to that bot lane, but they aren't going to risk trying to go after him. They'll just walk away. And speaking of FBZ though, he does have Primal Roar up again. So this could be a very dangerous point for CR if they do get caught out here by the Beastmaster, who is actually trying to Ancient right now. Looks like at least for now FBZ and the rest of Boom are planning to wait.
They're not quite in position to try to get anything done yet. They are on that enemy jungle, but pretty spread out in that area. Not going to have the easiest way to find that pickoff. I think all they really want to do is force out that lane, try to gather the attention of CR to the bot lane, and free up the space for everyone else to find farm. Mainly Mikato. He has not had any rotation onto him in a while, and even Kezcute has space up top to farm up a bit. So you are seeing a fairly decent distribution of farm here from Boom ID.
Mid lane, Ben-Hur trying to push it in a bit up against Dreamer's Soul, but Dreamer's Soul just happily pushes them back. You know, I've got to tell you, I've been watching Ohio quite a bit on this Tiny. Just doesn't seem like the Tiny pickups led to anything as of yet. They'll smoke up now and try to make something happen across the map. But again, I mean, Kezcute, he's going to be a very easy target to go after. You are going to see the rotation from Xiao Yu. And they are going to claim the Pos 5 kill. There was 4 heroes for a position 5. But it looks like they're okay with it as long as they can try to set up on this bot tier 2 tower. And that's exactly what they intend to do. The only problem is you're still trading with FBZ. He could just take this tier 2 tower himself if he really wants. And seeing that they're not backing off here at the top lane, it looks like that's exactly what they intend. In fact, never mind, Boom is actually defending that top tier 2 now, and they're going to force the rotations down on Makoto, where Makoto trying to get out. Primal Roar will be there with the Global Silence onto the Ember. Makoto still trying to get out of there. Waveform, and he will morph into the Tiny with a nice avalanche just on top of those steps. And he's out. Dream Missile's going to be there to help him if necessary, and in fact, Dragon Form is going to be popped high, right behind him on the Pugna. Spirit Vessel is going to melt Dream Missile quite quick now. The Dragon needs help. They will chain up, but the chains do miss completely in Dream. He looks like he wants to go back in, but he does think better of it. He backs off. And CR, they don't really find anything, so they're going to try to go after that tier 1 mid now. You've got that Diffusal Blade up onto VT Faded. And that is a rather nice power spike for him. Avalanche going to be there. Dream Missile again being healed up by Hyde. He does just Shadow Blade. They drop a Sentry, however, and they should be able to claim the kill, and they finally do. The Dragon Knight does go down.
Dire's middle tower has fallen.
Yeah, that should give them the tier 1 mid, and it does, but they trade away their tier 2 bot. So FBC does finally find that tower in exchange. That's a bit of a bigger win for Boom. That will allow them, again, free access to that bot jungle. They did manage to kill off the DK, which is a bit of a loss for Boom and a bit of a win for CR in the end, but they spent a lot of time just trying to kill off Mikato and Dreamocell. I think all of that time really was, considering what they lost in the bot lane, not too terrible of a trade for Boom. And again, they're still farming up on their Morphling. Mikato is just one part away from that E-Blade. I think that's when we can expect a little bit more coming out from Boom ID. They are just about 700 gold away from that item, so once that's up, they can start to tear through and start to force fights. They are giving BT Fade a lot of space for himself to get big. As you mentioned, he already has that Diffusal Blade up. It looks like he is queuing another one up. I'm not sure if he's going to finish that, but he is going to be going for the Manta next, and that's just going to make it so much harder to get the proper lockdown onto this hero.
BZ smoke up now and trying to find a pick off, but they really would have loved the PL, but he's already TP'd out. And CR, they seem to know something is a little right here, and they're probably not going to stick around very long. They're just going to stay in that tree line, and you've got to be slightly worried because, you know, you do have access to those Beastmaster Hawks. Instead, however, Boom are going to push the tier 1, and you've got CR in the backlines waiting to come in if necessary. Boom, they try to jump onto Xiao Yu, but here comes the cavalry straight through the backside. Global Silence will be committed. Kesku going to TP out, and now the Primal Roar from FBZ on the Ember, but where's the follow-up damage? They may have it now with the chains. Ben-Hur, he does finally drop, but you've lost Dream Missile on the Dragon Knight, and it looks like that'll be the end of that. A 1-for-1 trade. Maybe they find Ohio, as Makoto has the Ethereal Blade, but the Fate's Edict will block out the adaptive strike damage. Now Makoto, a bit of a sitting duck. He tries to man fight, but it's not going to be enough. He does tick out. And CR, they take a very successful team fight for themselves.
Yeah, they get the targets they really want from that exchange. They only drop her Ember, which is still a bit of a loss, but not as big of a loss as what Boom Esports did have to trade for that. Losing both their Morphling and their DK once more. Big targets to take out here for CR. That was the E-Blade reveal coming out from Mikado as well. Really surprised. He got the shot off, but he couldn't get the adaptive strike off. And when he finally did, it was while the Fate's Edict was on, so he couldn't even get that done. It's a bit of a missed opportunity with that reveal. There is going to be a massive window for Boom ID where they're vulnerable here. They're not going to have any sort of defensive item on Mikado anytime soon, and this is something CR can play around with quite well. They're just slowly building up, and it doesn't feel like Boom ID has the response needed to stop this progression from CR, right? Like they are not stopping VT Faded from getting his farm up. They aren't stopping Ben-Hur from getting his farm up. Everything is kind of lining up here for CR. They are getting control on the map and playing quite well. Boom just can't find the targets they want. They do kind of lack control in a certain way. Like, once that Global Silence is down, they are vulnerable.
They might fight again. Hyde looking to move in there with Makoto, but the whole of CR are basically there waiting. Ben-Hur, he pops a DD. He wants to fight his hide. May blow up. He barely survives. They've lost Mushi, however, on the Oracle. And now, boom. They're going to feel confident to keep moving in. But how do you catch anyone?
Dire's top tower is under attack.
It's all up to FBZ on the Beastmaster to get a prime roar off. But he doesn't find one. And with that, you've lost an Oracle. You back off with your CR. And nothing else comes out of it for Boom.
Yeah, I think overall, again, CR is going to be pretty okay with that trade. Just giving out an Oracle for that, not the biggest issues in the world. And Boom ID are still trying to force out fights without any of their big spells up. And at the very least, they have the Global Silence up. So if they wanted to make a move, this would be the moment. They have the Global Silence, they have a Roar up. They do not have Dragon Form, though, as they did have to blow that earlier on. So perhaps wait out for that to be back up before getting any sort of moves on. Otherwise, just try to farm up in Mikado. That's the key thing. Once this Morphling has a BKB, it's going to be a bit easier for him to get the damage out. Before that, it's just a bit iffy.
Xiaoyu, rather hide. Gonna get jumped on here on the Pugna. Still, they turn around on Ohio and they do find a kill, but now Xiaoyu comes in behind. They did get Hyde as a trade, but Makoto, he's a bit more of a tanky target again, and he does manage to walk out of there. Still a 1-for-1 trade. While all that was happening, you've got to keep an eye out on VT Faded, who is still basically freely farming this map. Now sitting at almost 10k net worth. He's very, very close to finishing off. What is he buying? Is that a... What is he buying?
Perhaps I don't know, is he going for an SNY at this point?
It's not something you're used to seeing, but it looks like it may be an SNY as Dreamer Cell gonna get jumped on mid lane with that Spirit Vessel. He melts so darn quick, but now the Prime Aurora FBZ will save the day, but no, VT Faded, he is not done. He wants the Dragon Knight. Makoto, however, he already blows up Mushi, and now the Decrepify will save Dreamer Cell, and they move in. They want to clean up. They found FBZ. The Beastmaster should not survive and doesn't. Zhao Yu trying to block the way, apparently, for his team. As Keskute being dived on by those PL Illusions, and VT is looking for another target.
Dire's top tower
Makoto does manage to TP away on the Morphling. And we'll see another 1-for-1 trade. But this time around, you lost your Oracle, but you found a Beastmaster. You're very happy with that if you are CR.
Definitely. These back and forth skirmishes are really starting to give CR a lot more to play with here than you'd expect. Boom has just been really playing a lot more passive than we're used to seeing from this team. Just trying to farm up, trying to take it slow, but they are bleeding a lot of ground towards CR. This is something they have managed to definitely use to their advantage. You see VT Faded. He finishes up his SNY. So he's got that up and running on top of his diffuse hold. Just a lot tankier, a lot more damage coming out from this PL than you'd expect. And again, that's not something Boom is ready to deal with just yet. They don't have the best of wave clear right now on their heroes. They don't have the best of ways of isolating VT Faded, and that's going to be a continuous issue now. We talked about it from the draft, like 15 to 20 minutes is when the PL picks up. We are past that point. I'd say VT Faded is definitely up there and has been ready to go for a while, is building towards the Satanic as well. Once that's up and running, you have no way of actually killing off this. He's going to have way too much HP on top, and all you can really hope is to maybe catch him out with the Global Silence up and just chain stunning him from there.
We'll see once again. They'll smoke up as 3. Ben-Hur trying to bait them in that mid lane. Ohio. Smoke going to be broken on Keskute. It's not the kill they wanted, but they'll have to suffice. Top lane, however, Zhao Yu being chased down. This could be a nice bait here from Zhao Yu. The rest of his team is there to back him up, and FBZ, he'll start cutting the trees down as Makoto will just TP away, and the Beastmaster will have to run through the woods. They do ping him out. They know he's around there somewhere. That is a nice ball block in those woods to actually not allow anyone through, and he's going to go for a TP. Ohio doesn't get the avalanche off in time, and man, what a play coming out from the Beastmaster, FBZ.
are scanning.
I have never seen that block before.
Yeah, it's a solid area to block. I think that's one of the major choke points, and does manage to get away, but they will have to give the Roshan away for that skip. They did scan it out. They are going to try to make a move. It is not dropping as fast back.
And it's going to be able to be defended. Hyde looking to try and blow up Mushi, but Fate's Edict will save him. Still Primal Roar from FBZ, and now they look to blow him up and do Makoto. He claims the kill. They do end up rooting down this Ember Spirit, but can they finish him off in time? Global Silence still silencing him up, and he is going to die as now Zhao Yu comes in, but he is surrounded. Do they have the damage output? Hyde going after VT Faded. They'll turn around onto this Pugna, but he just decrepifies himself and runs away. They can't kill anyone. They'll try onto Dreamer Soul now, and the DK is falling low, but FBZ just spamming those axes, keeping them at bay. And VT is still looking for another target. Makoto looks to turn around now as he tries to shotgun down the PL, but it's not quite enough. Still, he gets the chains off on the PL. VT, False Promise will save his life for now as he does run away. A very close call there for CR as they almost lose their position 1 PL. They will end up losing Mushi and the Ember. And that is certainly still bad news for them, as Mushi did end up having to buy back on the Oracle.
Yeah, it's a bit messy, right? Like, they tried to go for the Roche. It does get contested by Boom. A very even back and forth. Like, this is an opening for CR, actually, because the Global Silence is not going to be there for a minute. So if they wanted to get something done, this is the time to do it.
Hayo goes onto the DK again. It seems to be the one target they can take down, but he does BKB up. Still, he is not very tanky, but he has a Shadow Blade available, and that's all that's required. Now, shotgun again onto VT Faded. Fate's Edict, it was going to be a little too late, and now Makoto still running forward with that PL Morph. Trying to find somebody, but doesn't quite get anybody. So instead, Makoto finds a double damage rune, and perhaps could think about forcing a Roshan, but instead they'll start running up top where they know Zhao Yu is.
Bottom tower is under attack.
Can they claim the kill, however? They almost certainly can if he's going to stand there like that. He will sprout up, but Clumsy Net is a thing, and he can't TP away from that as more Nether Blasts follow. Is he TPing? He is. If one TP doesn't work, you use the second one, and it's almost guaranteed to work.
Yeah, they had no way of chopping through those trees. Like, they didn't even have the waveform available at that moment. So, rather unfortunate. They do miss out on a pretty easy kill, or what should have been an easy kill onto Xiao Yu. And once again, CR gonna be happy with just wasting some time there. They still are kind of clumped up. Boom does have Global Silence back up though, so this isn't the moment for CR to fight. Gonna just take their time and try to farm up, wait for Boom to try to make a move and counterplay into that. I think that's the best you can hope for. Otherwise, a really even game, especially in comparison to Game 1. 10 to 10 so far. Both sides fairly even in terms of net worth. No real difference to speak of. And both sides are playing rather cautiously compared to Game 1.
Oh, they certainly are. Only a 10 to 10 and 28 minutes in. You look at that net worth graph, John, and it's been really up and down, but most of the game it's been within a 1k advantage either way. Like, there hasn't been anything over 2k worth of a net worth advantage for either team yet. And both teams, again, just going to be very, very focused on trying to force down towers and gain map control. That's really the only way you get a net worth advantage. And, ooh, VT Faded. Now gets rid of the Sergeant Yasha, makes a Heaven's Harbird out of it. Out of the Sarge anyway. Again, it's not really an item we're used to seeing on a PL, but that's exactly what he goes for, and he may need it as they are roshing Boom ID. Ohio jumps in with a very nice avalanche. They go straight onto that Beastmaster and FBZ. He does die, but he buys back. Aegis now is already down, and Makoto does pick it up on the Morphling. And who are they jumping on? They're trying to find Hyde on that Pugna. Instead, they'll turn around Dreamer Soul. He'll be the target, but he's BKB'd up. He'll try and TP away. Will he make it?
No.
He will not. Ben-Hur will find him with Zhao Yu on the Nature's Prophet. and now they chase for more. FBZ, he just brought back. He does commit the Primal Roar, but the Orchid comes out of Xiao Yu, and this is really bad if he dies right now. He does not want to die back like this. He gets decrepified, still trying to run away. The Sprout Block is there from Xiao Yu. FBZ is being healed up by Hyde. Is it going to be enough? No. Or maybe it is. The Purifying Flame's not enough. FBZ, he may get Fountain Dived here as VT faded. He's not done yet. He wants to keep going, but the Decrepify from Hyde will save his hide, quite frankly, as Kescute will also get dived a little bit, but will be able to run away.
Dire's middle tower.
And man, oh man, that was such a close dieback for FBZ, but he barely scrapes away with his life intact.
Yeah, that was a lot of saves coming out from Hyde, really. Hyde was the only person keeping him alive. He was the only one with 4 staff. He's the only one with a heal. And you are starting to see the effects of that, that urn is really starting to really hurt them a lot. Just dropping that regen off is really starting to stop them. So I think they really need to find a way to deal with that, have a way of getting a purge off. They're probably going to need something like the, at the very least, some Lotus Orb out to give them a little bit more protection as well. And it doesn't look like anyone's going to be building up to that anytime soon. So it is going to be a constant factor. A lot of their regen's just taken away. They don't have their own Spirit Vessel as well to play with, so you're always going to have that added value from Mushi. He's always going to be able to heal everyone up. And that is what's causing Boom to really just not trade favorably. They just cannot outlast CR.
Oh, they found the Beastmaster. FBZ get saved once, but you can't save him the second time, and now it looks like they do find Kescute on the Silencer, and this draft from Boom ID is slowly starting to fall apart. Just getting caught out in very forward positions here. I'm surprised of all people FBZ was the one that far forward. Again, he did now die back. And this may mean that CR feel comfortable enough to go for a high ground push, although bot lane. Ohio and Xiao Yu attempting to try and find Dream Assault, but he BKBs and just TPs out. That is still not going to save their tier 2 mid tower, which is almost certainly just going to fall.
Now, slowly but surely, Boom ID has pretty much lost control of the map. We talked about their draft being able to push out a lot faster. They haven't been able to. Like, you look at CR, they've gotten control of this map. They've leveraged Xiao Yu quite well. He has gotten a much better game than game 1, I think, especially on this NP. So he's been using that farm to a great effect, and they are able to clear out what is the last outer tower for Boom. So that bot tier 2 going to be taken out. No defense coming out from Boom. And that just means CR is free to run anywhere on the map uncontested now.
Dire's bottom tower has fallen.
Well, every outer tower down. This is when it becomes very hard for Boom ID. It's like, what do you do here? Makoto, he's going to try and go for a BKB himself, so that's the way they're just intending to deal with the Spirit Vessels. Just continue to get BKBs on all your cores. I guess it will help them a little bit, but eventually those durations are going to get quite low if you keep just using it for Spirit Vessel charges. Well, mid lane, Chain's going to be there on Makoto. Xiao Yu, meanwhile, going straight after FBZ. They know he can't buy back, but Xiao Yu now forced the BKB up as they still jump on the Beastmaster. Ohio with a huge avalanche, but is it enough? Kescute now, he'll be the target on the Silencer. Looks like he will go down as Hyde. He'll try to heal up his Beastmaster in the back. But Boom is still falling. Oh, Xiao Yu, very far forward. He will be able to walk away with the false promise that was placed by Mushi. Ohio, that was not the toss back you were looking for. And Xiao Yu will slowly but surely start going down again as now Mushi's starting to fall low to Dreamer Cell on the DK, but that BKB has worn off. Can they take down the DK? Well, it doesn't matter because they found Xiao Yu on the Nature's Prophet, and Dreamer Cell, he will still go down regardless as Makoto gonna try and fight back FBZ. He found a Primal Roar on Ben-Hur, but it is gonna be enough. He couldn't Remnant away in time, and now Ben-Hur, he's gonna have to buy back, Remnant in, and man fight as BT Faded is not done yet on the PL. FBZ has been left, but Ben-Hur does come back for him. And that'll be the end of that. Makoto, he actually has his Aegis end up expiring as well, so there's never been a better time if you are CR to try and make a high ground push, but it Seems as though the only problem is they're missing Xiao Yu.
Yeah, her push potential does drop without that Nature's Prophet, so they're going to have to wait for that respawn, which should give Boom enough time to have their Beastmaster within range and have Dreamosal back up and running. Really, a lot of back and forth in trades. You are starting to see CR definitely pull away in terms of net worth, at the very least. 8k advantage now, 17 to 12 at 35 minutes in. And Boom, it does feel like they're slipping away here. It feels like they're not doing enough damage. The fights are getting pretty scrappy from Boom. It's not as clean. Not clean at all coming out from these guys. And in stark contrast to Game 1, it just feels like the execution is falling flat. The farm distribution, while fairly even, how things considered, isn't getting there fast enough. You have the BKB up and Mikoto now at the very least, so the Morphling's not going to be constantly bursted down in the middle of these fights. You're going to have a lot more leeway to get that damage out, and that's going to be really important because it just feels like they cannot focus on any of the heroes from CR side beyond Mushi, really. That's the only target they consistently find. And they really need to start taking care of the other cores. Like, they have not managed to get a kill on BT Faded in a while, and the only core that they can really find has been Ben-Hur. But Ben-Hur did go off from a rough start anyway.
Well, I'm curious, John, how do you feel about the Aghanim Scepter DK in this game? Because it seems as though that's what Dreamer Soul is going for. Is the Black Dragon gonna be enough?
I think it's needed here. Again, they don't have a way of getting the damage out in a wide area. That splash is going to be extremely useful. The added damage you get from that is going to be extremely useful.
May get caught out. Ohio gets a toss back, but Shadow Blade again. Oh boy, they don't have detection.
Ooh.
Oh, that's,
they had some earlier. They've been maintaining that earlier on, but I guess Mushi just has not had the opportunity to refill on that. It's rather unfortunate. He does buy the sentries now and ferries it out. Bit of a mistake, but it does happen, on occasion.
Well, smoke up from Boom. They actually want to take a team fight. There's only one buyback available on the map right now, and that's going to be the Phantom Lancer. And in fact, BT Faded, speaking of, does go straight onto the DK, who does have his Ags up. So we do have the Black Dragon available. Dreamer Soul trying to fight. That's a lot of damage, in fact, coming out of Dreamer Soul. Xiao Yu needs to get the hell out of there, and he's gone. Now they jump on the Ember. Life Drain, Ben-Hur, he's falling very, very low. Remnant's flying out. He's just trying to get out of there, but it's not going to be enough. Makoto, he's there with the follow-up. And apparently the Aghanim Scepter may have been enough. He is a very, very strong dragon now.
Oh, yeah. He just does so much in this Black Dragon. So much more damage. You saw it in the splash, right? He can just melt through anyone that clumps up. This is going to allow Boom to really clear through those illusions and the summons from the NP as well. This gives them a really good opportunity to push back. They have to watch out for their top lane, though. Ohio is trying to split push a bit, but it's not so fast on the support Tiny.
Well, VT Faded's not even in his base right now. He's just not interested in trying to defend this. We talked about the buyback statuses, John. It was only the PL who had one, and he actually bought out something, so he doesn't have the gold for it anymore. So BT Faded can't actually fight this unless Dreamer Soul doesn't have Dragon Form, but he has it again. FBZ gonna jump in with the Primal Roar now. BT Faded gonna try and defend Mushi, but here comes the DK. Dreamer Soul pops the BKB, still trying to go after Mushi, but they don't have the damage output. Makoto gonna get tossed back, falling very, very low. He does pop his own BKB, but the bash, it won't be enough. Makoto, he survives with the Glimmer Cape. Where's the detection?
Oh, man.
Now the DK, Decrepify, gonna save him for now as he tries to run away. Still VT Faded, gonna chase him down. Dreamer Cell. Do they turn here? It looks like they won't really reset fast enough, so they don't want to engage in this team fight if they don't have to. And boom, they find a mid-racks. That'll be enough for them. They're out of there.
I mean, from losing all of your outer towers to taking the first racks of the game, Boom ID just managing to turn the tides there with one item reveal from Dreamocell. It's this Ags on the DK, just paying off in so many ways, and he still has so many ways to grow as well. He still has the Soul Ring he can replace in the Magic Wand. building towards his AC first. That's going to make it a lot harder to deal with him. But you see some major pickup from VT Fade. He bought out his butterfly, he had a basher, and that was causing issues earlier. With a butterfly now, I'm not sure if you're going to be able to get all of that damage out consistently, and you're going to have a Roshan on top if you're not careful.
Don't forget Dreamer, he can fly over cliffs now with that Aghanim Scepter, so he can definitely go for the steal if you're not careful, though they will back out, they'll smoke up, and they start looping around. CR going to try and come in from the backside. The train's just going to keep vision over the Roshan pin. In fact, Boom ID had the exact same idea. We have a mirror strategy coming out from both sides. Now Makoto trying to bait them forward, and the smoke is broken. BT faded. They'd love to go for him, but they want Mushi first. Straight onto the Oracle. They burst him down. Makoto, he has the shotgun. Now who do they aim for? Mushi, he bought back into this, so he's got to TP back his way here. And where is he? He does TP to the outpost. Dreamer's Cell still mad fighting, but it's only against Pure Lucens. As Zhao Yu gonna fall on the Nature's Prophet, but they have lost Hyde on the Pugna. And now Tiny Ohio, False Promise will save him as they do jump onto Makoto instead. The Morphling starting to fall low, continuously getting bashed up here, but one Centaur does save the day. FBZ will use the dominated creep, but Kezcute does lose his life. Makoto still trying to run away. He's out of mana completely, and he should eventually just tick out, as now an avalanche will come out from Ohio. He's trying to find Dreamer Soul, who has Dragon Form back up, and he'll just keep going over and above terrain. Though he gets chained up, he'll BKB, he'll TP away, and there's no way to cancel that one off. But CR will be able to secure the Roshan.
Yeah, it was a long process, and that did take another buyback coming out from Mushi, but in the end, they find 3 heroes. They managed to take out these, I think that's the second road of the game with the G, so you have a lot more tools now for CR to try to get their own high ground push going. Unfortunately, they have a lot of creeps in their own base that they have to clear out. 2 siege creeps going to be ticking onto that
Ohio
soon.
Got the Yules off on the DK. Dreamer Soul just going to Shadow Blade up. They do have a gem on Ohio, though. Just makes it a lot easier to just chase him down, and the only problem is he can just keep flying over the terrain. That's exactly what he does, John. He just flies. That's what dragons do.
Yep, he still has to wait for his TP though, but again, Dreamer Cell just being very slippery with his Ags upgrade is kind of buying time for his team. Like, they can't get a push out because they're trying to hunt down the DK, and they were pretty fairly shoved in on their mid. Again, you have to remember they did lose their mid racks, so the mid lane is going to naturally push. That does buy enough time for Mikoto to passively gain the goal to finish his MKB, so he's not going to have buyback on that Morphling, but he does have the MKB to deal with that butterfly on VT Faded.
Well, I love the Timeless Relic that the DK just found. I kind of wonder, who do you give the relic to? You think it'd either be Makoto on the Morphling holding that Timeless Relic for the added spell damage, or the Pugna. I have a feeling they're just going to give it over to Makoto. More items to fly out now. But now they gave the Timeless Relic to FBZ. Guess for the debuff duration?
Yeah, definitely for a bit more on that. Just to really hammer it in. I think just having additional length on that, I believe Primal Roar. I mean,
it's an extra 1 second.
Yeah, just that added control will give you a lot more value, I think, overall. So it is pretty nice. I think with these tier 4s, should be seeing a bit of a shift up in the game plan for both sides. You're gonna have to be really cautious about that. Like, you have the Princess Knife available for Xiao Yu now, which means his damage is going to be flying out a lot faster. You've got the Witless Shaco onto Mushi, and that means you're not going to be bursting down this Oracle as fast.
Mid lane! Zhao Yu just blinks straight into Dreamer Soul. However, they almost found Makoto. He does BKB up in time, but they are melting on the side of the Dire. Hyde does go down. Now they want to go after FBZ. Can they take him? Not quite. They're trying to deal with this Black Dragon Dreamer Cell. Avalanche comes out. He is starting to fall low with that Spirit Vessel charge, and he does go down. Things are looking from bad to worse as Zhao Yu gets a spread off from Makoto. They won't quite get the Morphling kill, but now they are going to go high ground. Repair kit going to be thrown out onto the tier 3, and they will fortify with that repair kit. This should be a guaranteed mid-racks. I wonder if they go for more now, as you really want to try and force out the buyback from the Dragon Knight. There it is. He'll have Dragon form up in 15 seconds, however. Not really very effective as a DK without that Dragon form, and well, until CR see that big Dragon, they're not going anywhere.
Oh yeah. No real threat for them to pull back just yet. You do see Mikado in the back line trying to find something.
Oh, here we go. Makoto
Oh,
jumping
boy.
in, but VT Faded has the control with the Basher, and now the DK gets jumped on. They decrepify Dreamer, so he BKBs up, but he's dead. Mushi kills him off on the Oracle, and that's GG. Boom ID. They will lose a secondary game, as CR do manage to tie it up 1-1, and that is going to force us to a game 3.
Yeah, CR this time around managing to really dictate the pace of the game themselves. I think Boom went for a bit of a slower draft. That kind of hurt them in the long run. They were trying to play the long game up against CR. CR are much more comfy in that spot, and they had a bit of an earlier power spike as well. They just managed to really keep a lid onto Mikato this time around, and even though Dreamocell was popping back in, it wasn't enough to deal with a really big Phantom Lancer at that point. They had no way of stopping themselves from losing HP with the early Spirit Vessels coming out as well, and they didn't have anything like the Oracle to keep them up. So the shift out here from Boom Esports doesn't pay off. CR does manage to snag themselves a win. We'll see whether or not they're going to win their first series in the entire Pro Series this time around up against Boom Esports in the third game, because I believe CR hasn't actually won a series out yet. So it's going to be very important for them to take the next one as well.
Well, with that, of course, it is MLP Dota and JohnXFire. We'll be back in hopefully just a few minutes for that third game. Won't be too long.